All right. For this presentation, we will learn how to complete the remaining elements of the Roman Baptist Church. So let's go ahead and zoom in. So we'll follow the same process we did with the window over here. Select the line command, the pencil command, excuse me. And actually for this one, I want to do something a little bit different. Let's use the rectangle command and put a rectangle here, okay? And now we'll do another rectangle. Just waiting for it to catch up with us, all right? We'll do another rectangle from here. We'll lock the inference and then bring it down. All right? And what I want to do now is create a line from this point straight up. And we will now pull this straight up like so. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that little line there. And we will now use the offset wrong one. There we go. Use the offset. To create and we will move this one down to here, right about there. It looks like it's accurate for the window. And then we will use the offset again. Actually, let's go ahead and build a line for this one instead. Let's put a line here because two different windows, so I want to be careful with offsetting that information. Now, we will create let's do an offset of the pane, and then we'll move it back up. That looks about accurate. Let's copy this line here. Let's bring it straight up. And see, yeah, yes it will. Okay. So let's go ahead and delete this line here, this line here, this one here. Use the to delete that. And then we'll bring a line straight across here. Okay. We'll erase these two. And now we will bring a line straight down from the midpoint of this one and a line from the midpoint of this one. And let's take these two. We're going to use this as our inference to copy that line up, because those are most likely the same size. And then we'll take this one and this one, do the same thing. You will copy from here to here. Okay. So if we zoom in, you can now see what that looks like. However, this line, this line, this line, and this line actually have to be moved over. Let's go to the midpoint. We're going to move. Let's create a line first. Oh, actually, we have a line there. So we're going to move these from the midpoint. We're going to need to create a line. Okay. We'll just wait for it to catch up with us. So as we do this, we have to stay reminded about geometries of the object. So the line that is here, we will actually move this line to copy and take it to the midpoint. Okay, this will allow us to move this line, this line, this line. So we will take this and we'll move it over from here to here, because that's the midpoint of it. Okay. We will do the exact same thing here. We'll take a line and we'll draw it about the midpoint. And we'll take these 4 lines and we move these 4 lines straight up to the endpoint. Okay. And now we will go ahead and delete these lines. All right. And we will delete these lines right here. All right, beautiful. So let's go ahead and let's check the, I think this is off. This is not accurate. See how far off this is. Oh, that's not good. So before we delete those lines, we're going to make an adjustment to this. Bring those 2 back. Just want to make sure that our lines are all the same, or the right heights. So let's take a line and bring it here. Okay. And we actually, let's take that back. What we will do now is let's come out and turn this into a component. The reason we will turn this into a component is because we can make the modifications to it that we need, and it will allow us to also draw on top of it. So this is a small window, and we'll say, okay. We will copy the small window straight down. Okay. We'll select small windows, copy them straight across. All right. And now we can go and we can draw a line from the midpoint of here straight up to the midpoint of here, because this line now not attached to that component, which will allow us to, we'll find the midpoint of it. So so that must be the midpoint. Okay, so we need to move, open this up. Now we're inside this. So we will select these, not that. We want to select this here and here. And we will move this from the intersection straight down to the midpoint. Okay, now we know now we know that this line is accurate. All right. So let's go back in here, and now let's copy our mullions right here, this mullion here and here. We will copy it and move it up so that it establishes the line up here. And actually, let's move it at this edge. Copy, we will press Control to copy it. And now I'm going to move this one down to there. Okay. Now we will copy this line, this line. We'll copy them straight up using that edge as our inference. Same thing, will be this one and this one straight up using that edge as our inference. And now we will copy this here as our inference, and this one using this endpoint as our inference. Now we will stay inside it. We will go ahead and delete this, delete this, delete this. We'll zoom in because the smaller ones are a little more difficult to see. Okay, and now we have our window, our small window created. All right, let's go back in here. Erase the things that don't need to be in here, like this information, right? These lines here. Erase this line and this line, this line, and this line right here. Actually, no. Let's keep those lines, because the way a window is actually constructed is that we'll delete the line. We'll delete the line. We can always come back and look at it for our own purposes. I'm just waiting on it to catch up with us. There we go. We'll delete that line, this line, and come out. All right. So that is that window. You know what? Even though this particular window, yeah, this window, it's a little bit off. Let's see if we can reposition. Well, we'll have to open it up in order to reposition it. We'll come back and we'll do the repositioning of that in a second. What we want to do now is, if we recall, we offset this one because we know that this was the molding. So let's verify. We offset that by 1/2 inch, and then we push this back 1/4 inch. So this is going back by 1/4 inch. So let's go back over here. We're going to pull this out by 1/2 inch. And then we'll pull this forward by 1/4 inch. Before we do that, let's clean it. We'll clean this one up as well. All right, so let's pull this forward by 1/4 inch. Okay, and we will leave this one where it is because the one bottom is actually recessed. All right. Now let's close that. Let's take care of our doors, our door and this portion. We can come back and make the adjustments with the window, with the actual material behind the window, or we can even delete that material and add our own, which we'll look at. If we want to add our own material, we can come over here to add our own material. Say we want our side of it to be white. So we'll wait for that to load up. So we'll go to colors. We'll go down to white, and we will paint all of that white. And if we want to gray out the window, we can always come in, gray out the window. Okay. And if you recall, we had to delete that portion over there. So we can create another. Oh, this one did not. This actually needs to, that sill needs to come out more. So let's use our tape measure tool. to measure our sill, and the sill came out 1 inch. And so we can come back over here and offset this 1 inch. Wants to stop at a 1/2 inch, which is fine. And then we'll come back we'll come back for a full inch. There we go. Beautiful. So look at that sill in place. And the reason we have this interference happening right here is because we need to draw this outline. So we will draw this outline. Let's come all the way around. Let's do that over. Let's make sure our outline is coming at the edge. Zoom in. And then we will close it right here. Okay. And so we know that it's there when we move our face out. So we want to be on the axis. Well, it doesn't matter. We can be on the blue axis. So we're going to move this down by, let's just say 20 feet. We're waiting on the system to catch back up with us. Okay, system has caught back up with us. And now we will take oh, look at that. Look at that. We got this. That's not good. So we need to see which one. If we go from here to here, that closes it. And we'll delete that line. Double click here. We'll turn this into a group. And we will move this. We'll double click this group. Pull it out. Actually, let's take that back. Let's take that back. We don't have to do that. We can actually use what's already. We can take it back to before it was a group. And we can just delete that face. We know we can delete face because we created it on the surface. And then we can copy this and put it at the intersection. Copy it over to this intersection right here. And then we'll copy it again from that intersection straight down to here. And we'll copy it from that intersection straight over to here. Okay. And now we will take these, move them down 20 feet, and look at that. We have that opening that we need. Okay. Let's bring that back up 20 feet. Let's bring this back up 20 feet. So we're no longer getting any kind of problems with the image. All right. So now let's go ahead and continue to build out our doorway. Same way, we're going to move a little bit faster with this one. So let's come in here, do rectangle right here, paying attention to the edge. So we want to use this edge here on the left and bring it straight down because that's the actual door. Okay. We'll do the same thing on this side. Ooh. And what we will do now is use the command because all of these are offsets. Now, one thing to keep in mind, which we didn't do with the first panel that we've created, is that it's actually square. So we want to maintain those proportions when we create that. So to maintain that square proportion, we'll click face and hold down shift. Maybe it's not a square. Let's zoom out a little bit. It appears that it may not be a square. Let's see. Almost, yeah, maybe it is. Let's try to get that correct. Let's try it one more time. Okay, so that's square. It doesn't look like it's square. So let's not treat it as square. All right, so that's there. Now we use the offset tool. Again, use the offset tool. Just waiting on it to load up again. It's moving a little slow. Okay. And so we come in. This one right here is actually a little bit too far in. Let's make sure we don't delete everything. We just need to bring it in just a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. So we will now add lines for these edges right here. And when we pull this out, those lines should come with it, giving us the beveled look. And so we have this comes out just a little bit. And all of these we will eventually turn into actually, let's go ahead and turn this into, oh, better yet, let's copy this first. We will move it straight down. And now let's highlight these components, and we're going to move these straight down. Sorry, highlighted the wrong part. So we're just going to wait a little while. What we're doing is we're building out the door and its respective information so that we can have a good, clean model. And unfortunately, sometimes your internet goes a little bit slower than you want it to go. But it is fine because we are okay. So let's go ahead and select these elements here. And let's move that straight down like this. So we're deleting this. Let's see if it does what it's supposed to do. We draw back, it will close it. Okay. The reason we deleted this is because we don't need that part right there. So we will just take it straight down, straight across. All we're doing is drawing back over it to recreate the object that's here. Give it a second. Here to here. Let's look at that. Here, there, beautiful. Look at that. Now that's flat, but we will make it not flat. So let's take this and we will turn this into a component. We're going to call this large panel. We're just waiting for this to stop. All right. Let's call this small panel. And once it's done, we can actually go inside that panel and make the modifications that we want to see happen. Okay. So let's come in here and let's pull this out. So we're going to come out this way. Let's say we will come out let's come out a half an inch. Okay. And we'll bring this out a half an inch as well. Actually, let's push. Let's move this out a half an inch as well. Okay, so now we've gotten our recessed panel created. And now all we need to do is push it back. So we're going to be on our blue axis. So if we, that's our, no, we don't want that axis. Try this again. We want to, which axis are we on? We want the green axis. So the green axis is left. It's not cooperating with us, folks. So if it doesn't do one way, let's try another way. There we go. That's the green axis. So now we will move this. Sometimes you got to change angles a couple of times. Does not want to. It does not want to cooperate with us, guys. There we go. So we're going to take this back. What I did is I copied it. We're going to take it back 1/2 of an inch. So it's on that surface. And we will now delete this. And we'll delete this part here. And so make sure that we have it, we will draw a rectangle right there. And we will delete that portion. And look at that. We now have that recessed door as we always wanted. We repeat the same process for all of the other ones. Okay. So let's go ahead and create it. Since this is already a component, we will go ahead and create exactly what we want. So move this out. Need to move that out on the blue axis. And this one does not want to cooperate with us. So let's see if we move it off the wall. Sometimes you got to move things down so that you can change your view. We're going to move it off the wall 20 feet. And let's see if we can modify it away from the building We'll select these elements here. And this one, and this one. And we're going to move this out. Okay, so it's moving with the direction we want it to go, but there's a line that's not drawn properly. For whatever reason, we have a line that's not drawn properly. So let's redraw a line just to make sure everything is drawn properly. Start at this corner here and go straight down to this corner here. There we go. We are back in business. We will move this out. And we said we move that out a 1/2 inch. Okay. And the same thing. Select this line, and this line. And we're going to move this out along the blue axis. One-1/2 inch. Okay. So we move both of those a 1/2 inch, and we're now going to move this object. We're going to move it back a 1/2 inch. So let's draw a line. 1/2 inch. Do it again. One-1/2 inch. And see if we can go ahead and move this. Said sometimes it acts up, so what we did was we copied it to move it back a 1/2 inch, and then we deleting this. Now we will move this straight up 20 feet, like so, and it is now in place. Okay, so just got moved out of place, and this is why it's important to not just move things without knowing how far you move them, because it's easier once you know exactly how far you move something to put it back. Okay. We will do a rectangle from this point here to this point here. And now we'll delete this and look at that beautiful recess. Okay. So we can now copy this down to this point here. Now we can copy all of these. Oh, this one is a little bit too far. Let's move it up. Well, yeah, we'll move it up. And then we will copy all the rest of them over. Okay. So what I would like you to do is work on, we'll come back and copy these on over, but I like you to build the windows as we did here, build the frame. The next set of tutorials, we'll talk about how to finish the door and the window at the top.